Welcome to another demonstration video for the Sonification Workstation. I'm going to show you two different sonifications today, the first one actually being an audification. The first one I'm going to do is an audification of seismograph data from an earthquake in Japan, and it's inspired by a sonification, a really cool sonification that I found on the Sonifier website. Sonifier, if you haven't seen it before, is another audification and sonification program from a few years back. It's at sonifier.org, and they did a really cool audification of this Tohoku earthquake in Japan. And I decided that as a test case and verification of the audification in Sonification Workstation, I would recreate it. The seismic data itself, I found at Iris's website. And so if you're interested in grabbing any seismic event data, that's a place you can do it. You can request it. The data set's there. Back in Sonification Workstation, let's go ahead and import that data set. And we will get 3 tracks, as you can see, assigned automatically the variables A, B, and C. To audify them, I'm going to drag in from into the patcher interface 3 audification synthesis components and connect them to this output. And then I'm going to map these 3 tracks, track A, B, and C, and hit play. And of course, we're not hearing very much right now. Our playback speed is set to 1 data sample per second, which is not very much. This was originally recorded, I think, at 10 hertz. And I found that around 20,000. There you go. It gives a pretty satisfying sound. It's a little crunchy, though. You can hear some artifacting. So let's turn on interpolation. Do it again. There you go. It's still clipped, but now the artifacting, the digital artifacting is gone. Yeah, much better. The only thing is that this currently, it's not very spatially interesting, and also it doesn't convey any of the sense of space from this data set, which was recorded at 3 different seismic stations. Let's go ahead and add, to help us with that, 3 pan components to the patcher window. Connect those in between our audification and our output. And let's set these, the first one to hard left. The middle one can stay at 0, and we will set this one to hard right. We'll try that again. There, that's more interesting. And it does give a little sense of the space and how these change in level and character as they progressively get further away from the epicenter of the earthquake. All right. Now there's one more sonification I'd like to share in this video, and for this one I'm not going to start from scratch. I'm going to open a session that I had saved earlier. You can save in open sessions, which will save both the data and the associated sonification scheme. So I'm going to open this New Zealand rainfall session. Again, we have 3 tracks, in this case rainfall data from 3 different weather stations in New Zealand. And I haven't actually mapped them to these oscillators. Those oscillators have still fixed frequencies, their defaults of 440 hertz. And what I'm going to do is, rather than map to these, I'm just going to set, let's say 240, some fixed frequencies, 240. I'd like it to be pleasant to listen to, so let's do octaves. 240, 480, and 960. All right. And ooh, that's super unpleasant. What I've done here is I've mapped the volume to these tracks instead of the frequencies of those oscillators, A, B, and C. But you can see that they're not scaled. So currently, these values, which are have no relationship to setting volume in this application, are probably giving values that are far too high and far too low. And so we're getting nasty clipped audio. So let's go ahead and turn on scaling. I'm going to scale from 0 to 1. -1 with the volume control will give you inverted phase. So I'm going to scale from 0 to 1 on all of these, because I like to get something, like I said, a little pleasant to listen to. Set our playback speed to 1. There we go. That's much better. Interpolation is still on. If it weren't, we'd be getting, yeah, that sort of stepped change in volume in each of these oscillators. I like the interpolation. I'm going to leave that on. And let's play with the speed a little bit. That's kind of cool. And we have an almost vocal quality now. Let's change, if we change the frequency on some of these, so they're just a little bit closer together, 480, and let's do 500, only 20 hertz apart. We get a cool sort of sci-fi atmospheric sound. So that's sort of applicable to the artistic applications of sonification. Anyway, there you go. 2 more examples of what can be done with Sonification Workstation and the kind of sound output that you get. Thanks again for checking it out.